Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. So today I want to talk a little bit about the Lakers. As you guys know, the Lakers played against the Utah Jazz last night. I watched the game from beginning to end, and we ended up going live after the game, and I have a lot of thoughts. But apparently, I'm not the only one that appears to have thoughts about how the Lakers played and their outlook moving forward. It seems like even the head coach, Redick, has some things to say. So this morning, while looking for what to discuss, I came across a report here from this article where it has the following headline stating, Redick gets honest on Lakers. We're literally one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA, right? And I said to myself, this is a pertinent topic that we need to address because I have a lot of thoughts. Okay, great. So let's get into what this article had to say here in terms of the coach. It said the Los Angeles Lakers have climbed to second in the Western Conference standings following a 108-106 win over the Utah Jazz at the Delta Center on Sunday. The Lakers, who are now 12-4, had yet another rough shooting night. However, the head coach, Redick, spoke about the woes in the post-game press conference. He said, "I thought it was our defense that won us this game," Redick said. "And I told the guys this after the game. We're literally one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA right now. I don't think that's who we are. We've got to make shots, and we've got to shoot them with confidence. We had 23 assists. We could have easily had 30-some if we made shots tonight," Redick added. "We got to shoot the ball better, but it's got to be a belief in each other and a belief in ourselves to knock down these shots." The Lakers, okay, so you have that. Now, JJ wasn't the only one that seemed to be concerned about the Lakers shooting. Not concerned, but that had some comments about the Lakers shooting. Apparently, LeBron James, who just made his return, second game actually since he's been back, he also has some thoughts about this. So we want to play a little bit of the sound of what LeBron had to say about the Lakers shooting, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to LeBron James here.
Like, you guys, as a team, have not shot the ball well at all yet this season.
It won't last. I'm not worried about it. We got too many good shooters. It won't last. We getting great looks. I mean, if we were shooting bad shots and missing, then we could be, worrying about, okay, how can we create better looks? We're getting great looks, all of us. So not worried about that. The numbers will average out.
Excellent. So you heard what he had to say. Now I want to quickly go to the box score. Okay, I want to go to the box score of yesterday's game. So let's look at the Lakers shooting. All right, most of their key players shot. They were abysmal. LeBron shot 44 from the field, 0% from three. Rui Hachimura shot 50% from the field, 50% from the three. He was one of the bright spots in the starting lineup. Andre, and obviously he went out of the game. So we have Austin Reeves. He shot 41% from the field, 12.5% from the three-point line, going 1 of 8. That's not going to get it done. Luka Doncic was even worse. He shot 25%, and I'm saying he shot a higher percent, but he took more threes, so he actually hurt his team. And he shot 41.7% from the field overall, and he went 10-24. Now, he did have 33 points, a double-double, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, but he also didn't shoot well. If you look at the Lakers as a team, they shot 26% from the three. 26%, 10-38. Now, funny enough, the Utah Jazz shot better than them. They shot 32% from the 32.5% from the three. And here's the crazy part. If you watch that game, Utah is a terrible team. It's no secret that they're the number 11th ranked team in the Western Conference. They're horrible. And if you look at some of their shot selection and how they were, it was horrendous. So for the simple fact that you were playing against such a lousy team that could barely organize themselves on offense to get decent looks. I mean, just look at the last play at the end of the game. For goodness sake. I mean, if they had played against a halfway better team, Lakers would have lost by double digits, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later. Overall, from the floor, the Lakers shot 44% as a team. Utah shot 42%, so both of them didn't shoot well. Utah, you can at least understand because, again, as I just said, they're a horrible team. The Lakers, on the other hand, are the far more superior team. They have way more talented players, but they just had a bad shooting night. Now, some people can attribute that to, hey, look, the Lakers have been off for 5 days. Maybe they're going through some rust. Maybe that could be one of the issues. Yes, that could obviously be a factor in the Lakers not shooting well. But let's look at their overall season stats as a team, right? The Lakers this season rank number 19th in points per game, right? So they're in the bottom half of the league in terms of scoring. And defense, however, they're better. Their offense is rated 15th, so they're literally the middle of the league. They're actually a better defensive team than an offensive team. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later, why I think what these guys are doing now is going to be a recipe for disaster moving forward. But the sentiments that JJ Redick is expressing here, look, yes, the Lakers are going to, they're going to shoot better. They have better shooters on the floor. Guys are shooting pretty well. If you look at Austin Reeves, for example, Rui Hachimura, I believe, is shooting a career high from the three-point line this year. He's shooting in the high 40s. Let me pull up his stats here. Rui Hachimura is shooting, what is he shooting this year? He's shooting 48.3%. So this is a career year for him from the three-point line. Luka Doncic isn't really an efficient shooter, especially from the three-point line. This year, he's actually shooting 5 percentage points worse than he did last year. He's shooting 31% from the three. The last time he shot this bad was his sophomore year in the NBA. So Luka's not doing a good job shooting the threes, although he's doing other things for the team. Austin Reeves, I think he's been efficient this year. As a matter of fact, he is. Austin Reeves is, no, he's not. Austin Reeves is shooting the same percentage from three as Luka, 31% from the three. So that's not going to really work for you. Now, some people may say, hey, man, why don't you go to other guys like Marcus Smart coming off the bench? Marcus Smart has been a knockdown shooter this year. Sure, Marcus Smart has been a knockdown shooter for the Lakers. I think he's been a major bright spot for the team, but he's not really shooting that well as well. He's only shooting 24% from the field, so he's actually having a horrible year. He shot better in the past, right? So look, the Lakers need to figure out their shooting, but I don't think that's the biggest problem they have unless their goal is to outscore teams on a night in and night out basis. And let me tell you something, you got to be better than just outscoring. You also got to be able to play some defense. For the Lakers to be serious, they need to be at the very least, a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense, none of which they are right now. Now, that being said, they're still the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, a lot better than even I prognosticated for this team coming into the season. I feel good about them, but I do believe they have some issues, and I'm going to expand on those thoughts in a little bit. Folks, ladies, and gentlemen, all hell done broke loose because of what took place last night in the NFL. Yesterday, the Cleveland Browns played against the Oakland Raiders, and it was a game of special interest because it made it the first time in Shedeur Sanders' career that he was going to become an NFL starter, right? And as you guys know, he has had a controversial lead up to his NFL debut. Going into the draft, a lot of people thought that he was going to be a high pick. That ended up not happening. And then, a lot of people essentially started to feel like the NFL came together and said, we're going to teach Shedeur Sanders a lesson because he's too arrogant. His father is too much of a loudmouth. And Shedeur ended up paying the price for it, right? He ended up paying the price for it. And in the midst of that, he ended up making a lot of fans for himself in the process of that. So yesterday, he had his first start in the NFL, and everyone is reacting to it. And it went well for him. Right, it went well for him. I actually want to read from an article here called Sporting News, from the website, called Sporting News, and it says Shedeur Sanders stats today: Brown rookie gets historic win, Raiders revenge in first NFL start. It then continues on. Shedeur Sanders' first NFL start didn't light up the stat sheet, but he accomplished a far greater feat. He became the first Browns rookie quarterback since 1995 to secure a win in his debut. In a 24-10 win against the Las Vegas Raiders, Sanders finished completing 11 of 20 passes for 209 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The Browns defense dominated the day, sacking Geno Smith 10 times, and the Browns maintained a comfortable lead throughout. The Browns opened the scoring in the first quarter with a Quinson Judkins Wildcat touchdown, which came after a 44-yard punt return set Cleveland up deep in the opponent territory. Then Judkins added another after Sanders completed a 53-yard bomb to Isaiah Bond to get them inside the 5. After that, Cleveland maintained a double-digit lead for the rest of the game. Sanders' first touchdown came in the fourth quarter, where he dumped the ball off to Sampson on a 3rd and 9, and the rookie back from Tennessee took it all the way to the end zone for a 66-yard score. The quarterback looked calmer throughout the day, making some big throws, including to Bond to set up the second Judkins a touchdown and a 33-yard completion for Jerry Jeudy, who fumbled on the play. Yeah, that fumble was insane. There was a particular play when he was running out. I couldn't even believe that. So let's get to his stats quickly. So Shedeur Sanders stats today. 11 completions, pass attempts 20, passing yards 209, 1 touchdown, obviously 1 interception, rushing yards -1, rushing touchdowns 0. So that was his play, and overall, he played well. The internet is reacting to him. Skip Bayless, everybody feeling good. You saw Deion Sanders smiling; his teeth was shining like I don't know what, man, like the gates of heaven, man. It was pretty amazing, right? So after that performance, people began to think that, oh well, Shedeur Sanders is going to be starting. But little did they know that the head coach had other plans, and he seemed to refuse to proclaim Shedeur Sanders as the starter moving forward. Okay, so what we want to do now, I want to play some of the sound of the Cleveland Browns head coach, what he had to say when he was asked by the press about whether or not Shedeur would start, and I'm going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Yeah, we talk about playing clean, and we really gave them two balls there with the interception, and really Jerry's a better player than that to know those guys are always coming from behind. So we have to be better there. We have to play clean in that giveaway column there, and that's going to hold you back. And especially, Jerry made a huge play for us, so we have to come away with points there, 7 if not 3. But that'll be a main focus for all of our guys. And when you're playing, especially on the road, and you're playing good teams. When we're playing a good team next week, you have to play clean. You got to try to win that turnover margin. Yeah, obviously, this team did a nice job of loading those boxes, and we have to run efficiently even versus those, Tony. But there were opportunities in the back end, and obviously getting that play off of scramble drill was huge, the one to IB. I mean, that's a great play for us in that moment when we're outmanned to be able to escape and make that throw. And then, the play to Samp, I thought, obviously, great individual effort by Samp, but the blocking on the perimeter was so key, and that was something that we talked about all week, how important on that play and a bunch of those perimeter plays, the blocking was going to be important. I thought, I can think of Sed and Harold and Dave were out there blocking on the perimeter, did a really nice job. Yeah, we felt confident in our guys. I think I told you guys last week, we trust our guys. We trust our guys to go make plays, and that there were plays to be had. There's always room for improvement, and that's what we focus on in our building. That's our guys have the right attitude to find ways to improve. But obviously, when you can make plays down the field, it opens up everything. No, we had a couple. Third quarter, it seemed to be an epidemic there on our side with offense, defense, and special teams getting penalties. But I thought by and large operation was good. And I have to credit, it's nice having a veteran center when you have rookie quarterbacks playing in there that you can really lean on. Ethan Posick, he did a great job as well with Shedeur. I think potentially, he's had a lot of reps with Gage throughout the spring and summer. Obviously, when you're working Harold, not as much, but Harold and IB on those two plays in particular, those are very trustworthy players. Those are guys that you feel confident as a quarterback that they're going to be where they're supposed to be. I thought Harold was outstanding. His run after catch showed up in this game. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, Chris. Obviously, proud of him and proud of this offense, and there are a ton of things to learn from, but I'm just going to, worry about today.
So you heard the comments from the head coach. What are my thoughts about this? Well, first of all, let me say this. As y'all know, we're not an NFL channel, so the quarterback that he's filling in for, I don't know how well he plays regularly, but I will say this. Shedeur has a lot of supporters. And usually when people feel like a guy is being mistreated, he usually begins to get a lot of support. Kind of similar to what happened to Russell Westbrook with the Lakers. Prior to Russell Westbrook joining the Lakers, I wasn't a huge Russell Westbrook fan. A lot of people weren't huge Russell Westbrook fans. But when they began to see how he was made a scapegoat and the things that he that he experienced after his time with the Lakers, during his time with the Lakers, a lot of people began to root for him because they wanted to see him do well. And I think that's what's happening in the case of Shedeur Sanders with the Browns. Now, does this mean that the external pressure from the public is going to cause the coach to have a change of mind? I don't think so. NFL coaches seem to be very dogmatic. They seem to be very principled in their ideas. So I don't think the external noise is going to cause him to make him a starter, right? I don't know. It may happen, but I'm not sure. I watched that game between the Lakers and the Utah Jazz. And any Laker fan that watched that game and came away from it feeling or beating their chest like we did a great job, you're lost. Okay? We won the game, but it was nothing to celebrate. Guys, we barely beat one of the worst teams in the NBA, in the Utah Jazz. One of the worst teams in the Western Conference. Last time I checked, I think they were number 11th or 12th ranked team in the Western Conference. They're horrible. And if you watch that game last night, you will know that the Lakers won by sheer luck, because Utah is a horrible team. They take bad shots. They can't really shoot. They play hard. They have a lot of young guys, but they're not a great team. And their record is a reflection of just how poor they are as a team, right? But as I was watching that game, one of the biggest storylines was LeBron's second game back to the team. Now, look, I'll say this. I said prior to LeBron's return that if he comes back and takes a back seat and doesn't try to gum up the works and just tries to fit in with what these guys are doing, that's going to be beneficial for the team. The first game, he certainly did that. I think he only attempted 7 or 8 shots in that first game. He had 11 points and 10 assists. I've never seen a double-double of 11 and 10 be analyzed as much as that game. That game was analyzed to the point where Nick Young on Gil's Arena said that after watching LeBron score 11 and 10, he decided that LeBron James is the GOAT off of that double-double. That should show you the amount of honey slinging that's been going down with these dudes, right? Going into the second game, LeBron got the starting nod. And as I was watching the game, it became painfully apparent to me that the LeBron-Luka-Reeves combination is not going to work. And I think that is going to yield a similar result to what it yielded last year in the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm going to tell you why. Prior to the announcement that LeBron James is going to be returning to this team, I felt 99.9% confident that the Lakers were going to blow the doors off of the Utah Jazz. I believe that the Lakers are that much better than the Utah Jazz. But seeing how they struggled last night made it clear to me that I've been right all along. Now, I know some of these LeBron supporters, these guys on the internet are going to be there pissed off watching this video. You kiss my ass. Okay, how about that? All right, y'all can go sit down somewhere, get a jar of honey, and have a nice evening. All right, I don't care. And I got some data that I want to share with you guys why I think that there is a disaster looming if this thing doesn't get rectified. Great. I want to go to the box score. Beyond the fact that just looking at the game, I know LeBron fans are transfixed and fixated with statistics. Let me give you guys a damaging stat that stood out yesterday. Of all of the Lakers that started, LeBron, Rui, Ayton, who played limited minutes, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic, do you know who had by far the worst plus minus? LeBron's plus minus was -14. What does that number indicate, folks? That number indicates that when LeBron was on the floor, the Lakers were losing by 14 points. Now, I've been one of the advocates and proponents that said Marcus Smart should be starting. I like what he gives the team in terms of his defense. He's their best perimeter defender, so having him in the starting lineup would seem pretty rudimentary. You would think that you would want to have your best perimeter defender start in the game, but for whatever reason, they decided to not do so. Marcus Smart played 17 and a half minutes. His plus minus was 18. He had the highest plus minus, which means what? When Marcus Smart was on the floor with whatever lineup, the Lakers were 18 points better than the Utah Jazz, which goes back to my original point, which is I am not sure that LeBron James should be a starter. I'm not sure. Shout out to one of our viewers that sent me this. Huge supporter of the channel. he sent me this stat, and I want to this post that I want to share with you guys. This is from NBA Updates. It says the following: during the fourth quarter of the last night's game, LeBron James went to the bench with the Lakers up by only 5. He came back into the game when the Lakers had opened up a 12-point lead. The Lakers went on to win by just 2 points. LeBron was a team worse. Do you guys believe that this will be a reoccurring issue with the Lakers, or they will figure out how to reincorporate the king? Here's my thing, guys. As somebody that didn't really pay attention much to this team last year and is paying much closer attention to this team now, it has become clear to me that having LeBron, Reeves, and Luka on the floor is a disaster defensively. They couldn't stop anybody yesterday. Utah was just missing because they were missing. Had nothing to do with the defense these guys were playing. And when you have 3 people on the court that are not good defenders, you're going to lose. The Lakers struggling to beat the Jazz by 2 points is shameful. It's shameful. So I'm still standing by the notion that Marcus Smart should be in the lineup. And I believe that having Luka, LeBron, and Reeves is too redundant. The Lakers were already a middle-of-the-pack offense without LeBron James. So I don't think you need all of this scoring, but it's too redundant. And more importantly, these guys don't play defense. They don't. Luka's shooting 31% from the 3 this year. Reeves is shooting 31% from the 3 this year. So it's not like as if these guys are just, playing their best ball, but you do need a defender. There's some plays last night. I was watching the game. LeBron, something didn't go there. He didn't even bother to get back on defense. He just stood there. That's not going to work. It's not going to work when you start playing against some of the better teams, like the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Thunder. Forget about the Thunder. We're not even nowhere near in their universe. I think they're 17-1. Nobody's in their universe. So, do I think the Lakers are good enough to win games? Yes, I do. And I think they will continue to win games because we have a pretty soft schedule. But boy, let me tell you this. We better figure this thing out. We better figure that negative play. It's not a joke. So as you guys know, a lot is going on in the NBA right now. A lot is going on in terms of this scandal. As a matter of fact, as I was preparing to do this particular show here, we just got an update from Yahoo Sports. It just popped up on my screen as it pertains to Chauncey Billups, right? And it says, breaking, Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy on Monday during his appearance at a federal courthouse in Brooklyn. Billups has been accused of being a face card in a scheme that helped lure players to illegal poker games that tricked victims out of millions of dollars. All charges carry a maximum punishment of 20 years in prison if convicted. So that's the update, right? So as I was going through the internet here, I came across a report here from ESPN. And it was an article published by Brian Windhorst. Now, if you guys know anything about Brian Windhorst, he's a longtime supporter of LeBron James, never hesitated to twerk it up when he had an opportunity on ESPN to do so. So I was absolutely floored to see him publish this article where he's essentially linking LeBron James and Damon Jones. Not that LeBron had any wrongdoing, but linking them in terms of their friendship, right? And how close they were. And I'm sitting like, really, Brian is doing this. But actually what we want to do before we even get into what Brian had to say, we want to give you guys a quick summation of where we are in this case with Damon Jones, because ESPN just dropped a video where they basically explained everything that's going on thus far, and Damon Jones just recently pleading not guilty to the charges. So take a listen to this quick update here, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to this here quickly.
Breaking news in a Sports Center, former NBA player and coach Damon Jones pled not guilty to wire fraud and money laundering charges in a Brooklyn court today after being arrested in the FBI gambling sting last month. He was released on a $200,000 bond. He is accused of providing privileged NBA information for bets and for taking part in rigged poker games. We now welcome in ABC News Chief's investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, who was in the courtroom when Jones pled not guilty. Aaron, can you describe exactly what you saw?
Yeah, he's still inside. In fact, Damon Jones sat in a courtroom with his attorney, Kenneth Montgomery, pleading not guilty to those conspiracy charges that each come with a potential penalty of 10 to 20 years in prison. It was a very quick arraignment on the first case, the one charging him with luring unsuspecting poker players to rigged tables. The gambling apparatus was allegedly altered. The shuffling machines were rigged. There was a table where you could see through to the cards. And according to the indictment, Damon Jones used his celebrity to lure these players that were eventually defrauded out of millions. He pleaded not guilty to the conspiracy charges associated with that case. And now he's in a separate courtroom to plead guilty to conspiracy charges related to the sports betting allegations, in which he's accused of tipping off sports bettors that LeBron James wasn't going to play in a Lakers game against the Milwaukee Bucks back in February of 2023. He's going to walk out of court, released on a $200,000 bond secured by his parents, putting up their Houston home as collateral. And Christine, federal prosecutors revealed during the hearing that he is engaging in plea talks, so it's possible that he will arrange to plead guilty to all or some of the indictment and avoid going to trial, but that may be a ways off.
Okay, so certainly more to come in the future. Aaron, thank you. For more, let's bring in ESPN legal analyst Ryan Smith. So based off of what occurred in the courtroom, what are the next steps moving forward?
So right now, it's all about starting the clock for this case to begin. So you talk about things like discovery, which is the most important part of this. We've seen, a lot of people have seen the indictment, the accusations that Jones is facing, but there's so much more information, evidence the government has. They have to turn that over, and the defense turns over what it has. Also, status conferences, soon to set a trial date, and there will be motions filed. His side might try to file a motion to dismiss, a motion to suppress evidence, things that help him as they proceed to a trial. Now, Aaron talked about discussions happening. That does happen as part of this, but we'll have to see where that goes. But all of this is really about discovery at this point. Get the information the government has and move forward, and eventually soon set a trial date.
And those are those plea discussions that he was talking about, correct, with Aaron?
Yeah, the plea discussions are interesting because it's not even so much a plea deal, it's a proffer, which means essentially he would, if this is what's happening, he goes in, if he agrees to, he tells them everything he knows. If you play this out and he decides to go this route, he would plead guilty. And then because he gave this information, prosecutors would then reach out to the judge sentencing him, saying lessen his sentence. But that's a ways off. It said Aaron was talking about how they might be having some of these discussions. Yeah. So it's very early days.
Excellent. So let's continue on with the article. Now I want to just get to the key parts, right? It says if you pass through the Cleveland Cavaliers players parking lot during the 2006-07 season, you almost certainly would notice LeBron James's Ferrari in Silverstone paint, but you'd also likely have noticed a customized Mercedes-Benz with a license plate 4.8. That was Damon Jones's car as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers from 05 to 08. Jones owned and drove beautiful cars, wore eye-catching suits, often with animal print he jokingly claimed were real, and talked endless trash. The specialized license plate was a reference to the time left on the clock when Jones made the biggest shot of his career, an overtime jumper on May 5, 2006, to seal a Game 6 and first round series win over the Washington Wizards. It was the Cavs' first playoff series win in 13 years. Right now, I want to move a little bit further. It says you could dunk on him, play cards with him, make fun of him, and laugh with him. And on the floor, you could pass him, and there was a good chance he would make the shot. It was a perfect recipe to be a sidekick shooter and off-court companion, and it was why he made friends with plenty of teammates along the way, including stars such as James, Shaquille O'Neal, and fellow defendant in a federal gambling case, Chauncey Billups. I want to move on a little bit further. It says, last month, Jones was indicted for conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Prosecutors allege he leaked non-public information to sports bettors when he was a voluntary member of the Los Angeles Lakers coaching staff in 2023, and in a separate but related case with participating in a mafia-tied scheme to run rigged poker games. He pleaded not guilty to both accounts on November 8th. there are probably some people out there pretty worried about Damon Jones right now. A longtime league executive who used to have Jones on his roster said he has nothing to lose and nothing to bargain with other than rolling over on other people. The two federal cases indicted 34 people, and prosecutors said their investigation would continue and possibly expand. There is still 2 unnamed conspirators in the case that are described as former NBA players. Jones made more than $21 million in his NBA career, but people around him suspect he spent it nearly as quickly as he made it. Jones' shooting exploits and personality got him coaching and media opportunities. He worked as a shooting consultant and then as an assistant coach with the Cavs and their G League affiliate, the Canton Charge. From 2014 to 2018, including their 2016 championship team, he appeared on television as well, including ESPN. His penchant for overspending never dimmed either. Despite no longer earning an NBA salary, multiple friends and former co-workers say Jones routinely asked them for loans after his playing career had ended. During his time as a coach in Cleveland, Jones often stayed in guest rooms of another team's coaching staff, sources said. Honestly, I started to try to avoid him, one former NBA player said, because I didn't want to have money conversations. And then continues on. Said another longtime friend, my wife and I came to a decision that I had to stop taking his calls and returning his texts a couple of years ago. We'd reached the end of the line over money. Between 2013 and 2024, Jones declared bankruptcy twice, was sued at least 4 times for unpaid personal loans, and twice had a management company in Houston file eviction notices against him, according to NBC News. Jones and his wife first filed bankruptcy in 2014. In court filings, he listed a $10,000 Nike endorsement as the only income in 6 months and said that he and his family had $200 in cash, less than $300 in the bank account, and roughly $2,400 in an IRA. That case was dismissed. 2 years later, when Jones and his wife filed bankruptcy again, they reported it in court and said that they had $50 in cash and less than $50 in the bank. That case too was dismissed. Jones was then employed as a shooting consultant by the Cavs when he made about $4,000 a month. Jones and his wife, according to records, owned creditors $644,000. Some of Jones's biggest debts, according to the records, were an $86,000 car loan on a Mercedes and a $47,000 at the Bellagio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, where Jones was known to frequent in NBA seasons. In one personal loan case, Jones reportedly used his Cavs' 2016 championship ring as collateral. Earlier last month, Jones's mother and stepfather pledged their house in Houston to secure his $200,000 bond. It then gets here. It then says, Jones did maintain on and off friendships with James for years after they were teammates in Cleveland. Known for having a tight circle, James typically is very selective about whom he lets in. Jones was on the Cavs from 2005 to 08, unofficially as a part of the Lakers staff in the 2023 season, ostensibly because of James's comfort level with him. LeBron is very into routines, one former Lakers staff said. For a while, shooting with D. Jones was part of his routine. Jones routinely traveled with the Lakers, attended practices, and had access to the locker room and training room, sources told ESPN. And it was his custom. He apparently gambled with them as well. One of the traits of the Lakers team the year Jones was on his staff, the Los Angeles Times reported in 2003, was their freeze gesture made after hitting big three-pointers, which stemmed from an inside joke involving Jones's antics and when he won a big hand playing cards. The indictment said the FBI found evidence that Jones sold information about the Lakers' player availability to gamblers in both 2023 and 24. The indictment doesn't reveal which players were involved, but the details suggest that James's one time and then Laker teammate Anthony Davis the other. In the court documents, the prosecutors say the FBI uncovered a text message from Jones to one of the gamblers in which he encountered a big bet on the Milwaukee Bucks in a game in which, and then the article then goes on to say a few other things there. Here are my thoughts about this. That was a bit long-winded. Here are my thoughts about this. LeBron James hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing whatsoever. But make no mistake about it, he's the biggest name out here. I'm surprised that Brian Windhorst would even write an article linking these two guys' names together. I'm surprised. And the reason I'm surprised is because Windhorst has been such a huge supporter of LeBron. So I'm sitting here asking myself, what changed? What changed? He's been such a huge proponent of his. What changed? Why all of a sudden you're doing this now? I mean, seriously. Could it be because LeBron went on the Pat McAfee show and trashed Brian Windhorst and tried to embarrass him and basically make it look like he's a stalker? Could Brian Windhorst be having bad blood about it? Whatever it is, whenever you spit in the face of people, especially people that have been loyal to you, they tend to lose that sense of loyalty that they once had to you. Right? I'm surprised that Brian Windhorst wrote this. Now, some people could say he's doing his job. Yes. But much of his job has also been up there to twerk it up for LeBron. And he has done that. And you got to hand it to him. Brian was even gracious after LeBron made those comments on ESPN. The person that actually defended him stronger was Stephen A. Smith. Brian Windhorst just kind of played it off. But I bet you he was shocked by it. But to keep linking his name to this guy,